Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is all about the FIFA World Cup. The FIFA World Cup, often simply called the World Cup, it is an international association football competition between the senior men's national teams of the members of the Federation Internationale de Football Association, which is called FIFA in short. It is the sport's global governing body. So World Cup in football or soccer is a quadrennial tournament of 32 men's national teams that is organized by Federation Internationale de Football Association. It determines the sportsman's world champion. It is likely the most popular sporting event in the world. So it draws millions of television viewers every tournament. The World Cup is held every 4 years so that the national team playoffs and qualification rounds may be completed. Furthermore, 4 years gives the host nation enough time to arrange the tournament's logistics and how to best handle an influx of millions of spectators. So the World Cup is the pinnacle of the beautiful game, bringing people from all over the world together to compete for the greatest prize. We can only fully comprehend why soccer is the most popular sport in the world by looking at the significance of the FIFA World Cup.
FIFA's World Cup is the most watched single sporting event in the world. The communication of the qualifying process that involves every corner of the globe with over 200 teams, competing every 4 years for the privilege of getting to the final stage of the tournament. Nearly 100 years old, the cup have humble beginnings, a far cry from now what is now to see and how it has changed over time, and why what the teams have dominated and how Latin American has fared. Join me for this brief look at the story of World Cup. This World Cup was held in Uruguay in 1930, but this was far from being the first international competition for the sport among countries. In fact, it was not even the first attempt. FIFA sponsored contest for the first attention belonged to the British Home Championship, first played in 1884, nearly 15 years before the disputed continuously for 100 years until 1984. The second goes to a cup that FIFA tried to organize to be played in Switzerland in 1906, but ended in the failure of main power of FIFA faced at the time was that in lack of both organizational capacity and the kind of the funds necessary to put an international tournament, not least because of the endpoint of barely had 9 members association. Then it began to slowly grow in the members worldwide intervened, so it was not until the 1920s that FIFA could put together any kind of competition, the football soccer portion of Olympic tournaments, but this was still an amateur contest, which put FIFA and the Olympic Committee at odds with each other to point that it was decided in 1932. Olympiad in Los Angeles would not include football as part of competition, so FIFA often go ahead with its own tournament. Now, I just had to find the host country and a way to pay for it. Several countries volunteered. To host by Uruguay offered to pay for all the participants' cost. This couple with other facts decisively tipped the scale in the favor of the South American country. First was the fact that Uruguay just happened to be celebrating their 100th anniversary of its constitution, and second that the country was basically the world defending champion since it had won the 2 previous Olympic titles. I factored why and still commemorate as a World Cup triumphs with 2 stars in their team logo, and so FIFA sent out the invitation to the potential teams. The only team is World Cup has been killed without a qualifying stage that the Americans responded intentionally, but the Europeans were less keen given the long voyage at the length of the tournament, which could keep them from their own national leagues for over a month, and so only European teams including France, Belgium, Romania, Yugoslavia made into the competition, bringing the total to 13 along with a southern cone Mexico. In the United States, the cup was played entirely in Montevideo and mostly in the Centenario Stadium venue made just for occasion. The first game ever was between Mexico and France on the July 13, 1930, where a volley from a French player, Lucien Laurent, became the first cup of goal ever scored, still the Uruguayan tournament. had some issue in other gameplay, like France, this one against Argentina. July 13, 1930, where a volley from a French player, Lucien Laurent, became the Cup's first goal ever scored in a European tournament. Had some issues in other gameplay like France, this one's against Argentina. The ref whistle end of the game less 5 minutes before it was supposed to end, and the game between Peru and Romanian. Burley had 300 people in the stands, but overall the cup could still be considered a success. In the final quarter, became the first World Cup champion by being Argentina 4-2, was quiet and spectacle in the boost for future cups given. The Europeans' campaign is about the away from original tournament, plus the following two in 1934 and 1938 were held there in Italy and France, respectively. This time, there was a qualification process that also included teams from Africa and Asia, but there were some issues. For example, the defending champion would boycotted the 1934 Cup response is response to European and subs its own tournament, even worse attendance. Was about half of had been in Uruguay, but the major problem were definitely political. Mussolini, for instance, used in 1934 Cup as a tool for a fascist propaganda. In the 1938 Cups, Australia was forced to withdraw from a tournament after the Nazis annexed the country steel tournament with a hand, and Italy won them both under the leadership of Vittorio Ponzo, the only coach to ever win the World Cup twice. Another week killed FIFA's momentum for tournament would heal in 1942 or 46 because World War II and there almost was not in 1950. Because of the lack of intervention in hosting of Brazil finally came from the true though, and so once again the contest would be held in Western Hemisphere and with a FIFA mandate that would not let the team play barefoot to the head of the 1948 Olympics decided not to participate, signing the long voyage to Brazil. The cup itself was for underage, however, as features some of the greatest episodes of all the time. The first was the American beating England, one of the favorites win the tournament, helping to knock them out in the round, but the second was one of the most memorable and the tragic wins of World Cup in history is the final Brazil faced in the Hawaii and similarly under the leadership of Vittorio Ponzo, the only coach ever win the World Cup twice. Another war killed FIFA's momentum to no tournament would be held in 1942 on the 4 or 46 because of World War II, and there almost was not one in 1950 because of the lack of intervention in hosting in Brazil. Finally came through though, so once again the contest would be held in the Western Hemisphere. This still invented from problems. For one thing, there were multiple withdrawals after the qualifying stage, including India, who formed that format crowded, the team with the points Brazil have tie and they would win their first championship. Brazilians even have song ready to go Brazil, Wazardos. That is, we must all be going according to the plan. Once Brazil went up one thing in the 47 minutes, but Uruguay would soon tie and the score a winning goal with only 11 minutes to join the game. And the speechless Brazilian fans were so upset that at least two of them committed suicide in the Maracana Stadium.
FIFA World Cup was first held in 1930, when FIFA, the World Cup football governing body, decided to stage an international men's football tournament under the era of FIFA President Jules Rimet, who puts the idea into place. The inaugural edition, held in 1930, was contested as a final tournament of only 13 teams invited by the organization. Since the World Cup has experienced successive expansion and format remodeling with its current 48 teams, final tournament preceded by the two-year qualifying process involving over 200 teams from around the world. The FIFA World Cup, una-una ni sana ginhiwat sang 1930. Ang president nila si Jules Rimet, they only invite 13 teams sang una-una pa lang event. Then, sang nag-success, ang ininga, ang FIFA World Cup sang nag-success, they invite 48 teams hasta nga nag 200 teams all over the world. So the first official international football match was played in 1872 in Glasgow between Scotland and England, although at this stage the sport was rarely played by outside Great Britain. The 19th century games that were considered the Football World Championship were meeting between leading English and Scottish clubs like the 1895 game between Sutherland AFC and the Heart of Midlothian FC, which Sutherland won. By the 20th century, football had gained ground all around the world and national football associations were being founded. The first official international match outside the British Isle was played between Uruguay and Argentina in Montevideo in July 1902. The Federation Internationale de Football Association, or FIFA, was founded in Paris on 22 May 1904. Comprising football associations from France, Belgium, the preceding two teams were having played their first national game against each other earlier in the month. Denmark, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland, with Germany pledging to join. As football began to increase in popularity, it was contested as an IOC-recognized Olympic sport at the 1900s and 1904 Summer Olympics, as well as at the 1906 International Games. Before becoming an official FIFA-supervised Olympic competition at the 1908 Summer Olympics, organized by England Football Association, the event was for amateur players only and was regarded suspiciously as a show rather than a competition. The England national amateur football team won the event in both 1908 and 19. Olympic event continuing to be contested only between amateur teams. Competition involving professional teams are also started to appear. The Torneo Internazionale Stampa Sportiva, held in Turin in 1908, was one of the first, and following year Sir Thomas Lipton organized the Sir Thomas Lipton Trophy, also held in Turin. Both tournaments were contested between individual clubs, each one of which represented an entire nation. For this reason, neither was really a direct forerunner of the World Cup, but notwithstanding that, the Thomas Lipton Trophy is sometimes described as the first FIFA World Cup, the expense of its less well-known Italian predecessor. In 1914, FIFA agreed to recognize the Olympic tournament as a World Football Championship for amateurs. It took responsibility for organizing the event. This led the way to the world's first international football competition. At the 1920 Summer Olympic, won by Belgium, Uruguay won tournament in 1924 and 1928.
So we have here the significance on global scale. So first here is it has impacted more than 35 countries across Africa, Asia, and the Americas, helping communities come together through football by providing the equipment needed to play and building quality football pitches so young people have a space to gather and socialize. The second here is FIFA World Cup brings people together and breaks down cultural barriers. racism, and social inequality while creating a sense of unity among different countries. The last significance on global scale is the World Cup provides an opportunity for countries all over the world to share a sports moment together and engage in diplomatic conversation. So FIFA promotes the ideals of equality and fairness. It improves social links between the individuals and nations. It also creates jobs and infrastructure investment through its competitions and operations to administer and grow sport.
So, the cultural and economic impact of hosting the World Cup. The bottom line is that the FIFA World Cup has a massive economic impact to its host country. The tourism brings $1 billion in revenue and creates thousands of jobs. It has also the potential to boost tourism and help grow the country's economy. So, sa isa ka lugar kung din ginahiwat ang FIFA World Cup, dala ginadakdako sa impact sa nga country. For example, sa America, dala ginahiwat ang FIFA World Cup. So every tourism and every people will gather in America to watch the FIFA World Cup. So the money and the jobs opportunity are higher. Hosting the World Cup has been known to have a significant economic, social, and cultural impact to the host countries. For example, the 2010 World Cup in South Africa generated an estimated $12 billion for economic activity and contributes to the creation of 159,000 jobs. Imagine, damo. FIFA World Cup brings people together and breaks down cultural barriers, racism, and social inequity, while creating a sense of unity among different countries.
From Greenwood outside, and now Fred further infield, who swings one in towards Elanga, took it quite brilliantly. Outstanding finish from Anthony Elanga. Dybala provides the little give and go with Bentancur, who's opened up the angle beautifully, and that's a lovely goal from Juventus. Even close, as Terry said. Here's Higuain. Van der Vaart! Fabulous goal! Trusty left foot of Rafael Van der Vaart.
Hello, I'm Bill Dumadaog, and today we're going to analyze the footage where Cristiano Ronaldo moves, creates space for his teammates. Their opponent already knows that Ronaldo is unstoppable just by hearing his name because of all of the accomplishment he has made in the sport of soccer. As you can see in this video, the defender focused on Ronaldo because of his ability to score, and this became an advantage to attract defenders and create space for his teammates to score a goal. Because it is a team sport, they can't win if they only rely on Ronaldo's ability to score because he is a star in the field of soccer. They win more games because of their teamwork.